Can you make salami, fermented salami, without starter culture? It's going to be a long video. Turns out you can. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do a bit of a salami experiment, doing some fermented salami. I've got a couple of these pork butts I need to cut up, and I'm going to make some salami from them. I stumbled across a video from Eric from Two Guys in a Cooler, and he, instead of using store-bought starter culture, he used the brine from some sauerkraut that he had made. So I made some sauerkraut. I'm going to put the video making that sauerkraut at the end of this video. It's real simple, easy recipe, so it'll be at the end of this video if you want to see that. But so I just made a little bit of sauerkraut, but it got me thinking that what about the brine from fermented garlic? I've got some garlic I fermented here with a little bit of dill. I'm going to try that. And then that also got me thinking, what about garlic that was fermented in honey? Garlic is supposed to have all the same bacteria and cultures that you want in a salami. So I'm going to do 3 different ferment brines as my starter culture on the exact same recipe of the sausage. So I will be using, I'm just using ground pork shoulder, about an 80-20 blend, and I'll get this chopped up and we'll move on to the next step. Just chopping this up in pieces small enough for that will fit into the throat of my grinder. Well, I got a new knife from the local butcher packer supply shop, and it's sharp. I got a little cut on my finger here, and so I had to go clean everything up and wash my hands, put on some gloves. So now I'm just gonna breeze through cutting this up, and we'll move on to the next step after that. And I'll watch my fingers this time. That is a good looking pork steak. It's too bad I'm using this all to make sausage, or I'd fry that up for dinner. Look at that marbling in there though. Got a lot of fat in it, which is good. I was afraid, they took the fat cap off. I was afraid it was going to be too lean for making sausage because they didn't have very many shoulders. So once I get inside it looks good. So I'm a happy man. All right, let's get our spices together. We've got some salt, some Insta Cure #1, because I'm doing this a small diameter, so it's not going to take it long to dry. So we'll use the Insta Cure #1. I've got black pepper. I've got crushed red pepper. I've got fennel seeds, garlic powder, rosemary leaves, and some dextrose powder, which will help the lactobacterias in the starters. It'll feed them. So I'll get these mixed up and we'll move on. All right, that's it for the dry ingredients. Shake these up a bit. And we'll move on to the wet ingredients. Okay, so for the brines, Eric said they use 2 tablespoons per kilo of meat. So since I'm dividing this up into 3 different batches, it makes it 2 teaspoons per batch. So that's where we're gonna go. 2 teaspoons of sauerkraut brine, 2 teaspoons of pickled garlic brine, and 2 teaspoons of honey fermented garlic, the honey from the fermented garlic. This smells awesome. It's a little roasty. Almost smells like black garlic a little bit, but there's never been any heat applied to it. The only thing in here is garlic and honey. Last ingredient, some red wine. This is just some cheap red wine that somebody actually left here because I'm not a big wine drinker. It says 75 milliliters, but I've got this 1/3 of a cup here, which is 80 millimeters, so I left it just a little shy. So, and that's help with the acidity too. So I've got my meat and my grinder parts all in the freezer. I'm gonna let that all chill for about an hour, let this all wait, and then we'll come back and we'll start getting everything mixed up and then divided, and then we'll add our ferments in. So see you back here in a minute. Okay, so in the bowl of this stand mixer, I've got the meat that we just ground up. I didn't do a lot of video of that. You've all seen meat being ground, so you see meat being mixed too, but this needs a little more explaining. Okay, in this bowl I have 1,000 grams, a kilo of ground pork. I did it on a coarse grind. Now we're gonna add our spices and our seasoning and our salt, and for the entire batch, and our red wine. We'll get that mixing up, and then we'll move on to the next step after that. All right, let's check it and see if it's getting there. That'll hang there all day. It's nice and sticky. Everything looks well incorporated. So I'm gonna call that good. All right, now that we got everything mixed up, I'm going to divide it up. First, I got to get a total weight. of the meat and all the spices and the wine and everything. And we'll go from there, adding in the starters for the ferment. Okay, so we got 1,093 grams divided by 3. So I need 364.3 grams for each batch. I'm just going to use this bowl, reuse it. No point dirtying up an extra one. Okay, 364.3. Dang, that's close. 369. Okay, next step coming up. Okay, now we're going to add our brines in that are acting as starters. We've got our sauerkraut brine, our fermented garlic brine, and our honey fermented garlic. So I'm going to get these all mixed up. I'm not going to show you everything. I'm just going to mix it in by hand. I will stop, change gloves between each batch so they don't get contaminated. So at the end we can see if one ferments faster, if it doesn't ferment at all, and if there's a big difference in the flavor at the end. So let's get it going. Start with the sauerkraut. And that should be mixed up. It's just a little bit, so it won't take long. Looks pretty mixed in. So move on to the next one. Now that everything's mixed up, all 3 different batches, I'm going to get it into a casing. I'm just going to buzz through this part real quick too, because you've all seen me do that. So I'm just going to buzz through it real quick. These are just going to be short little links, so it's not going to take much. I'm not going to show doing all 3, but just know I'm going to stop and wash all of the stuffing equipment between each batch for the same reason I changed my gloves in the last one. So let's get it stuffed. Since I'm not planning to twist these into individual lengths, I'm actually going ahead and stuffing this pretty tight. And there it is. Just a little shorty. Now I'm going to push through what's left in the stuffing horn, and then I'll tie it up. I'll move on to the next 2, washing everything in between, and I'll see you back here when I'm done with that. Just going to take my sausage pricker, get any air pockets out, and do an overall prick, help everything dry. These are so small, I have a feeling that these are going to dry in just less than a week, maybe 10 days. But we'll see. All right, so I got them all stuffed, and whatever was left over in the tube of the stuffer, I've wrapped up in cling film so I can monitor the pH without poking holes in the sausages. But I need to get a starting pH so I can see how this experiment is going to work. I made a small mistake. I was going to save just a bit of the sausage before I mixed in the starters so I could see how much faster that worked, or if it did, what the difference would be without it. And of course, I forgot. Trying to run multiple cameras on my for the first couple of times I did my last video I did, but doing that and then doing basically three different sausages, having to wash all the equipment between, I made a mistake. So it happens, but we'll still be able to see the difference between the three. So I'm going to check the pH on the kraut one first, and we'll see where it goes from there. I think this is gonna be pretty good. Just a little bit of time it's been wrapped up in this cling film. It's already starting to get a bit of a bind on it. So got a pH meter for Christmas, and that's why I'm doing this test. I've been waiting for this before I started getting into fermented stuff, because I didn't want to try and trust the test strip. So now my target is going to be 4.9, and like I say, this is the one with the kraut brine, and this is, looks like it settled at 5.82. I don't know if you can see that. Try and tip it up, maybe you can see it on the overhead camera there. Yep. So I'll go through, do all three, and I'll write all that down, and we'll go from there. I'm rinsing the probe off between each one in distilled water. And this is the one with the fermented garlic brine. That is at 5.59. And finally, the one with the honey fermented garlic. Okay, and that looks like it's settling out at 5.64, 5.65. The sausages, like I said, have been stuffed. I have weighed them, and I've set a target weight loss of 40%. I didn't think I should go with much lower percentage than that, because they're so small. They would dry, they're going to dry fast, and I figure if I go to 40 instead of 30 or 35, it'll get it longer to develop more flavors. So, okay, now to ferment these, they need to be 65, 70 degrees with fairly high humidity, so above 80%. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wrap them up in cling film and then just leave them out on a counter here. We keep the house, even down here in the basement, it stays right around 65 degrees. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll see you back here when we check the pH to see how long it takes to get to our target. And I'll keep the little piece right with each one. All right, it's been 44 hours. Sorry about the noise, but it's winter and it's Michigan and I'm in the basement, so there's furnace noise, plus we got some laundry going. So I'm hoping with the lapel mic that you're not picking up too much of that, but if you can hear it, sorry, can't do anything about it. Now I'm going to start with the one with the kraut, and I can already tell that this is a whole lot firmer than it was when I put it in here. So this one started with a pH of about 5.8, and we're shooting for under 5, probably 4.9, somewhere around there. Let's see what it is. That smells good. It smells fermented. There's no off smells. You can pick up a little bit of that ferment funk, you know, like you get from like pickles, cheese, that kind of funky thing. So, oh, and it's been staying right between like 68 and 71 degrees down here in the basement. So, okay, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to need more time. It is right at 4.9, 4.99. Oh, well, no, it's gone up a little. It's like 5.1. Yeah, it's 5.1, so it's going to need a few more hours on that one. But it's definitely working, and it's actually working quicker than I thought it was, because it's closer to where I want it than I thought it would be. Let's clean the pH meter off and move on to the next one. Okay, now this is the one with the fermented garlic brine. This one started at 5.6. Okay, so that one's not dropping as fast. This one has come down to about 5.3, 5.4. So, yeah, that's the garlic brine one. Okay, that out of there. This one, it smells good, but it's not quite as funky as the one with the kraut brine. So that brine was older, so maybe that's why it's not working as fast. That kraut brine was fresh. It was very active. The garlic brine had been in the refrigerator for some time, so maybe that's why it's not working as quickly. Okay, let's check out the one with the honey fermented garlic. It's firmer, just like the other two. I can't pick up on any of the honey. I definitely pick up on the garlic, but it's definitely got some more funk in it as compared to the garlic brine one. So let's see. That one started at 5.65, and that one has dropped down to about 5.3. So, but that's an old one too. So I'm guessing that the fresher your brine, the faster that's going to work. I mean, it's still working. It's just not working quite as fast. So I'm going to give this probably another 24 hours to see where we end up. So see you then. Okay, 24 more hours has passed. We're at 68 hours, which is fine. Because we got under 5.3, I'm going to put a little picture in here of a chart that shows the time that you need to get under 5.3, which is the safe zone. I'm going to put a little picture in, a little chart in, and then I'm going to link to a website that goes over the basics of how you want to ferment your meat. There are definitely more resources, but the link I'm going to show, it's just a real simple explanation of how you do it. So yeah, let's get started. We're gonna go with the kraut again. Definitely feels a little bit firmer still than it was yesterday. You have to excuse my sniffling. I've got a bit of a cold going on, plus I've got itchy, watery eye. If I didn't have to do this today, I definitely wouldn't, but this has to be checked, so here we go. Wow, that is working really fast. Got the camera closer, so I'm hoping you can see this, but this one is definitely ready to go into the curing chamber. This one is actually low. I'm afraid this one might be a little bit too far. I should have checked after 12, not 24, because I knew this was going quickly. But yeah, we're at about 4.6, which is quite a bit lower than I wanted. But I guess we'll see in the tasting. That's the kraut brine, about 4.6, 4.7, 4.76 is where it has stopped moving. So it's a little bit lower than I wanted. On to the next one. Okay, this is the fermented garlic brine. Yeah, and we are there. About 4.7, 4.8. Let's move on to the garlic honey one. Yeah, and that one's right at about 5.1. I'm gonna call that good for all of them. Yeah, these will go into the curing chamber, and I'll see you at the tasting. And however long that takes, I'll check it in a week. Bye. Okay, we're back. It's been 11 days now. We've lost about 38% of the weight, and we're going to give it a quick taste test. And we'll start with the kraut one, since that was the one that started the whole idea, the one that I got the inspiration from Eric over at Two Guys in a Cooler. And yeah, let's check it out. These other two out of the way. Nice and dry, pretty firm, but it's not hard. So we don't have any mold, so our chamber was clean and everything worked out well. So let's cut into it. It's got a good bind. You can see all of the spices in there. You can see the fennel and the pepper flakes. Nice particle definition of the fat. The casing looks well bound. We'll have to see if it's chewy or not. It should be edible, but we'll have to see. We do have a bit of a dry ring on the outside, so that might be a little bit tough, but hey, we're gonna take a couple of slices here. I might have to get a different knife. This one's not very sharp. I need to sharpen it. I didn't get it very thin, but the first thing I get is the red wine, which I'm actually surprised by. I figured it would be more of the funk, but because this one was the one that fermented faster and it fermented farther than the other two, so I figured this one would be funky, and that's there, but it's not as prominent as I thought it would be. So yeah, it's definitely the wine is the predominant scent aroma there. That's nice. The outside is just a little bit hard, but it's not inedible at all. The inside is soft. But it's well bound. It's all sticking together. It's not like it's like it hasn't cured or anything. You know, I got to really tug on it to get it to come apart. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm going to change some stuff up here and cut into the other ones real quick, give them a quick taste. This video is already super long, so I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to see if there's a difference in the funk, or if they change the flavor at all. So, all right, let's do it. Okay, so let's move on to the one with the fermented garlic brine as our starter culture. It looks about the same. Now, when I had these in the cheese cave curing chamber, I rotated them after 2 or 3 days, and then again a couple days later, just for the airflow. This one still seems a little bit soft in the middle. I mean, it's good, but it's not as dry as the kraut one, which is weird because they were in the same chamber. So still got the same amount of the dry ring on the outside. So, but we're just here to see if they taste any different. Let's see, that one fermented slower. It got to the pH, and it didn't get to as low of a pH. But this one tastes a little bit funkier than the kraut, and I can't tell a difference in the flavor other than that. The wine is still the predominant flavor, so it smells almost identical. So both of those work. Yeah, that's a good salami. I pulled it a little earlier than I wanted. I wanted to go 40%. I'm between 35 and 40, probably about 38%. I think if I did this again, I would take my fan out of the chamber so I don't get the dry ring on the outside, and I would let it cure longer and go to 40% weight loss. I might even go 42 to 45 because it's a little bit soft on the inside, but it's still good. It's just I don't like the texture. I like my salami hard. So, and now for the one with the honey fermented garlic as a starter. It looks the same. I can actually smell the honey in that, and it's weird because it's just such a small amount, but I can actually smell the honey in that. It's got a bind. I did change knives. I got a lot thinner slice. Got a good bind. This one is firmer in the center than the one with the garlic brine, the fermented garlic brine. But give it a shot. Let's see, that one, the red wine's not as prominent. I can't taste the honey. But the funky, this one actually went to the least acidic. It had the highest pH number. But I can taste the funk in this one more. It's weird. All of the other flavors there are awesome. Everything about this is really good. It's a little bit too soft for me, and that's because I pulled it out too early. Should have let it go longer. And I think next time I will maybe leave the fan on for a day or two and then turn the fan off so I don't get the dry ring on it. But so there's proof that you don't need to buy expensive starter cultures if you're just doing a small batch, because $20-something for a little packet of starter culture, which will last you for, which is made for huge batches. And if you only use a little bit of time, starter cultures go bad. If you don't want to invest the money in doing that, these work. Make some sauerkraut, ferment some garlic in salt water, ferment some garlic in honey, and you've got your starter culture. So I'll have my recipe down in the description. There's some links down there to Amazon wish list. I've never mentioned this on my channels before, but lately I've been having people making comments about the quality of my videos, and well, if you want to help me make better videos, there's an Amazon wish list down there in the description of every video I've ever posted about making anything. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.